Hello and welcome to this podcast series about trends, technology, and business for Cisco. I'm Peter Chaplin in Orlando, Florida, where we've caught up with the globetrotting Michael Stevenson, Cisco's Vice President for Global Education. I was thinking as we were getting ready for this conversation, Carnegie and Mellon gave libraries and infrastructure. The Gates Foundation certainly gives grants. I'm curious if there are any models for what Cisco is doing.
I think that there have been people around the world, certainly in America, in Europe, in Scandinavia, who've been thinking about system change in education for some years. And they've been thinking about how can you change hundreds of schools, thousands of schools, focusing on better teachers, better leaders, standardized curriculum, accountability and metrics. So there's a model there. What we're thinking about now is a more thoroughgoing transformational agenda, which takes all of that, but focuses on 21st century skills, 21st century teaching and learning, and collaborative technologies that drive that whole agenda. People may well say, well, who are you? You're a technology company. To which I think we would say, well, a technology company with serious experience of education change, the work we've done in Mississippi and Louisiana, the work we've done in the Middle East, and a company that draws its workforce from right around the world and has to have an interest in what those kids coming through schools and universities are going to be like, what skills they're going to have.
Is this a question of fostering technology in a classroom? Or are we really speaking about social reform for teachers and the way children learn?
It's the latter. It's definitively the latter. It's about identifying the skills that young people need to flourish in today's economy and society. Critical thinking, complex problem solving, creativity, collaboration. Now, to get to those skills, we're going to need to do teaching and learning in different ways. Very often, it won't be the old subject-bound, fact-based approach. It'll be project-based. It'll be across subject boundaries. It'll be drawing experts into the work. It'll be focusing on real-world problems. How do you build a building? How do you design the Olympic Games? That kind of learning, we believe, is best set up to deliver those skills that I talked about. And if you look at the collaborative technologies, they're there for a purpose. They, because they focus on collaboration and creativity in their nature, are the best equipped in a wider teaching environment to support that kind of teaching and learning.
Let's touch on that for a moment, because there may be some skeptics, there may be some suspicion. Is this a camouflage to sell more technology? Is it philanthropic? Is it transformative? What is it?
Well, in the end, what is good for the business has to have a weight in Cisco, and I think it would be naive to try and dismiss that. But the roots of this whole program of work lie in what we call corporate and social responsibility. Very often using Cisco's dollars to drive educational change in those very parts of the world, very parts of America, where change was most needed. And the best example of that is the $40 million that this company put into change in Mississippi and Louisiana. 50 quite poor schools that needed an awful lot of help and had their roofs blown off, metaphorically and sometimes truly, after Katrina. So there is a way, we believe, to bring together within a single organization both CSR activity and business activity. Cisco wouldn't hold back from helping out in the health sector, the retail sector, the financial sector, and I see no difference between those sectors and education. And John Chambers has said famously in recent times that it is because of the CSR activity that the brand has begun to get bigger, and indeed that the performance of the company has improved. So there are new approaches, new ways of thinking about the traditional philanthropy agenda, and I think that they can be mutually and importantly complementary.
Who has been most willing to embrace this message? Has it been school boards or education ministries or teachers or parents? And who's been least willing? And how do you overcome their resistance?
Well, partly it's the experience of the company. This company has been working hard on the education agenda, investing millions of dollars in tough reform programs. That is a reason to work with Cisco, because it's not fly by night. It's not in today and out tomorrow. It's in it for the long haul, and it's proven it. We see a big vision, an ambitious roadmap, and we'll walk with you along that road. But let's bite off some of the things that we can do that are smaller. Let's see how that goes with this new approach to curriculum, teaching and learning, collaborative technologies. If that works, you can be pretty sure that you can shift some really important things that are indicative of the change to come. I'm thinking of children's attitudes, better motivated, enjoying their schooling more likely to do homework outside of school hours. I'm thinking of teachers who really want to come into jobs that maybe 3 or 4 years ago they'd have shied away from. Teachers who are enjoying the professional development experience that comes with all of this. Now, a little way down the track, but not so far, you would indeed expect to see that starting to convert into better performance. That'll build a little confidence, and we'll do it on a bigger scale in 3 or 4 years' time. So, big vision, but incremental steps that I think will be confidence building.
Why now? Why couldn't this have been done 3 years, 5 years, 10 years ago? Why shouldn't it be done 5 years from now? What is it about now that has made Cisco step up and say, let's begin?
Well, 5 years ago, I don't think we had networking technologies of the weight and ability to shift big systems that we have today. So we do have those now. Wait another 5 years, and of course the networking technologies would be even better, but that would be another half generation of kids that had to go without. So now, I think, is the moment. But let me qualify it in this way. This is not simply about networking technologies. This is not an educational technology offer. This is about education transformation which takes advantage of networking technologies to drive it. And that's a critical distinction. So 3 to 5 years would be a reasonable timescale to expect to see measurable change in learner outcomes, to use that jargon, if you start with the technologies and go through the pedagogy. This is a company which came out of Stanford University 20 years ago. It remembers its educational roots. It's a company it knows that if it can help education systems around the world, there'll be huge benefit, and benefit back to Cisco in terms of those that it can then employ. Everything, therefore, in terms of its own roots and aspirations and its own self-interest, points to sticking with it and making it happen.
Michael Stevenson, Cisco Vice President for Global Education, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. There's a lot more information about global education transformation and Michael Stevenson at newsroom.cisco.com. From Orlando, Florida, I'm Peter Chaplin for Cisco.